Shabbat Shalom, my friends. The end of a week, and what a week. This is Memorial Day weekend, the time when annually we remember those who died in active service on behalf of our nation's security. This is a week which also marked 12 months since the murder of George Floyd. On this past Thursday, there was a nationwide virtual rally of Jews coming together in strength to protest the rising tide, the astonishing rising tide of anti-Semitic acts in our country. And this week, the United Nations Human Rights Council established a permanent panel to monitor what it calls Israel's ongoing violations of human rights in carrying out what the Human Rights Council describes as Israel's ongoing pattern of war crimes. Murderous, continuing horrific acts in Yemen, in Syria, in Ethiopia, and in too many other places around the world were not mentioned in the resolution. This week, the United States Senate could not find enough Republican votes to establish a bipartisan commission to drill deep into the January 6th insurrection. This was the week that was. Okay, our Sedra is Bahalotcha, Numbers chapter 8, verse 1 and following. It has some truly fascinating elements. For example, the statement in our text that the seven-branch candelabrum, we call it menorah, was built according to a celestial archetype, much as the tabernacle. The tabernacle itself is asserted to have had a pre-mundane existence, just as the rabbis believed that the Torah that was revealed at Sinai and beyond, in fact, existed first in heaven. Also in the Sedra, we have the shortest prayer for healing after Miriam was punished with a skin disease. And we have a GPS system in the Torah, in our Sedra, of a pillar of cloud and a pillar of fire to guide the Israelites through the wilderness. And we have the role of the Asafsuf, the rabble, who many commentators assume to be a gaggle of non-Israelite hangers-on who joined the exodus from Egypt for a variety of reasons, and who are often blamed for a variety of rebellions against God. Truth? I love the word Asafsuf. It's an onomatopoeia, which could best be translated as rabble. This rabble joined the Israelites. Now, if you, I'm not saying you want to, but if you want to impress someone who challenges how the Israelites, having participated in the Exodus, the crossing of the Red Sea, could still continually whine to God about their living conditions in the wilderness, just smugly blurt out, well, it was the Asafsuf. Blame it on the rabble. They sound very, very informed. Rabbi Jonathan Sacks did not choose any of the things that I just mentioned in his most recent, the last commentary that he published on this Sedra. Rather, Lord Sacks asked us to look at, to understand, and to even identify with a moment when Moses seemed to crumble before the ingratitude, the spinelessness, and the failure to embrace hope on the part of the Israelites. Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't take it any longer, so he turned in anger to God. Said something like this: "What's wrong? Why are you treating me this way? You put the entire burden of caring for this people on my shoulders, and I want to know why. Am I their father? Am I their mother? Is it possible that any single human being could have skills sufficient to provide the kind of leadership that these former slaves need as we attempt to shape them into a people and guide them through the endless challenges of 40 years, as it'll turn out, in the desert? Then Moses says this, quote, "I cannot carry all this people by myself, for it is too much for me. If you're going to treat me this way, God, then kill me instead." Moses said that. "I beg you, so that I don't have to look at this wretched mess anymore." Is that any way for Moses to talk? Moses tells God that there is too much pain in exercising leadership. People don't care. People don't listen. People are what? Built to be indifferent unless something is really directly impacting them. People rarely lift their eyes heavenward. Mostly, they just want to live out their lives and not be bothered. I think that it is reasonable to assume that Moses always doubted his capacity to be an effective leader. At the burning bush, he tried to turn God down. While approaching Pharaoh, Moses thought he was simply inadequate for the job. Then, in an uncontrolled rage, Moses shattered the tablets on which the 10 Commandments were engraved. This was an unhinged response to the people who were driven by impatience to demand that they be given a golden calf to worship. How could anyone, let alone a flawed leader like Moses, lead such a people? "I'd rather be dead," Moses said. And folks, I think he meant it. But Moses wasn't alone in this dark night of the soul. No, he wasn't alone. Vayichar af Adonai ma'od. God, listed in the text, was extremely angry with the people. Uve'enei Moshe ra. And Moses, while God was furious in comparison, was what? Vexed, exasperated, indignant? Choose your own word. Uve'enei Moshe ra. It appeared pretty bad in Moses' eyes. Now, if either God nor Moses got their act together quickly, this might have meant the end of the Israelite people. It was God who recovered more quickly. Moses was told to gather either 70 or 72, depends on how you read it, elders representing each of the tribes, and appoint them to take on much of the administrative tasks that were crushing Moses. God was proposing, let's update it, a corporate structure for governance. Who did this previously? Do you remember? Yes, good for you. Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, had not long ago proposed a very similar kind of restructuring. God, modern terms, was speaking with Moses about delegating authority, and it seems that Moses was finally ready to go along, at least with God and not with his father-in-law, another problem. God moved quickly to resolve the matter by sharing some of the heavenly inspiration that had been granted to Moses with the new team. I'll take a little bit from you. I'm going to put it on them. You could almost feel Moses heaving a great sigh of relief. And he quickly gave up on his death wish. He made it for another 38 years, according to the text. This story does end with a twist. Things don't go quite as smoothly as either Moses or God might have wished. Okay, God is driven to make clear that the divine relationship with Moses is, in fact, absolutely unique, no matter what pieces of the inspiration the elders might have received. No one will ever have a relationship with God as intimate as Moses did. Our Sedra is speaking to us this week, right now. And this is what it's saying. It takes a lot to get people to move out of their comfort zone, to take on problems that don't directly and immediately involve them. That's just the nature of the beast. Leaders must deal with people as they are, not as we would want them to be. Leaders must play the hand that they were dealt. Next, what did Moses teach us in this? We can't do it alone. We want to fight racism. We want to fight anti-Semitism. We want to begin bridging the chasms that have opened up between American Jews and Israelis. Do you want to heal that? We want to separate out anti-Zionists and anti-Semites. We want to try to do that. We want to bring civility into the public arena. Well, Moses is telling us in this Sedra, we can't do it alone. Even Moses could shake off his despair only when he stopped feeling that if he couldn't achieve something, then it just couldn't be achieved. Sachs insists Moses had spent too much time alone. Moses was wrong in assuming that any solitary being can bring about tikkun, the repair of the world. The world cannot be healed if we choose to act in isolation. So let's take advantage of the pain that our world is feeling right now and use that pain as a sledgehammer to help us shatter the barriers that hinder us from working with like-minded people. Our world is not beyond repair. Our world does not deserve our despair and our abandonment. Together with others, we can make a difference. We can make our world better. That's it. Shabbat Shalom, my friends. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We have a community to build before we get back here next week, okay? Shabbat Shalom.